10 military survival skills in 10 or so minutes. Let's get at it. You're getting ready to set up camp and you're on backcountry. You need to be able to set up a low profile shelter. Standard A-frame is key, but what's just as important is having something to sleep on, something to sleep in, and something to sleep under. And being able to put all this in a compact and lightweight package. To be honest with you, so many people struggle with navigation, but it's not as difficult as we often make it out to be. Sometimes it's literally as simple as following a stream to a large body of water in order to get unlost. I get asked so many times, how do I know where I'm at? How do you know where you're at if you don't know? Well, one is by knowing your area to begin with, knowing how to read maps, and knowing how to move with confidence. Speaking of being able to read maps and to move with confidence, we need to be able to find some resources. So we need to be able to orient ourselves and be able to plan a route and follow that route and then recognize the objectives. Here we're looking for some water. What's your go-to method for collecting and purifying water? In this one we're using a Grail, and it's obviously effective. A little bit more costly than some other methods, but one of the things I will tell you is to ensure that you hydrate if you're at a water source. We're talking about a non-contested environment, of course. And then make sure that you leave with your containers fully filled. Very, very few people know this one. When looking up at the moon, it doesn't matter if it's daytime or nighttime. It doesn't matter if it's waxing or waning. If you follow that crescent moon and you connect an imaginary line from top to bottom, that's going to give you a north and south marker. Again, waxing or waning. This has been super effective for me over the years. Ideally, you need multiple ways in order to collect and purify water. In this one, we're using some old school military tactics of coming along a creek and collecting some water. And we're going to use some iodine tablets in order to purify it. But in this case, I can't hydrate where I'm at. I need to get off the X. So we're going to fill up. We're going to get the iodine tablets in. And then we're going to punch out. And the number one thing I'll tell you that's not in this particular video because it happened later is to make sure that you loosen up your threads and pour out a little bit of water through the threads to make sure that that area has been cleaned and sanitized as well. Gotta have so many ways to communicate, and everybody loves high-speed, low-drag ways, but sometimes the analog methods are just as effective, especially in an emergency or survival situation. Whether or not you're putting minis in your mouth to use while you're on patrol, super effective. Keep going back to navigation because I know that this is an area where people struggle with. And so we're going to use our map and we're going to determine where we're at after we orient ourselves and we find features that we can identify on a map and we can figure out exactly where we are. This doesn't have to be as difficult as we often make it out to be. Next up is simply a good survival method of making a fire if you're trying to reduce your signature and make sure that it's a little bit harder for somebody to detect your area. On that note, ideally, if you're going to stop, you need to be 400 meters and one terrain feature away from any place that has a building, a structure, or a road. It's going to help mask your movement, mask your sound, and mask your location. In this case, of course, we're digging a Dakota fire pit. Next up is using a dog leg, and it's a good, simple, and effective way to make sure that nobody is following you. It's also used for negotiating obstacles. Last but not least, we got to bring this back down to some of the most important and finer things in life. We've already collected some water, and now it's time to sit and chill out. So we need to have some coffee. Unfortunately, the only thing I have here is being able to make some Starbucks, but we're going to make the best do that we can. We're going to use an old heating tablet to make some coffee warm. Team, I appreciate you guys hanging out this long. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts and your comments down below about the survival techniques that have been demonstrated in this video, which ones you think should have been covered, which ones shouldn't have been covered, maybe they've been over covered. Either way, down in the comments, that is where the magic happens. Now, these tablets are pretty effective. Obviously, a one-time use. The good thing about them is they don't emit a lot of smoke. I'll tell you, you don't want to breathe in the fumes from them, so make sure that you're in a good ventilated area. We're going to use some Kami coffee here, but we're going to make sure that it does good by adding a few drops of some good stuff. And speaking of the good stuff, there is nothing quite like being in a majestic area and drinking the tears of a Kami. Team, if you didn't know, every time that you like, subscribe, or share one of these videos from this channel, my flask gets filled with them. So let's do our part and make them all cry. Team, if you want to master your craft and develop your tactical virtue, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so that you can stay up to date with future content. Consider becoming a channel member. It's going to give you exclusive access to content not available to anybody else. I appreciate you guys. Until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay safe.
We know you're out there! Come to my voice!